Today we're starting a new unit. It's called Roots, which we know means x-intercepts or solutions, and irrational numbers. So today we're going to look more at square roots and simplifying square roots. Before you watch this video or do this lesson, make sure you've done the Delta Math assignment. There are videos on there to watch and there's practice. It makes everything easier if you can find square roots. So getting started now, we're going to look at exercise number 1, and it says find the value of each of the following square roots. So if you can do this in your head, that's great. If not, you can get this symbol by using the second, that's the blue button, and then the x squared button. So on your graphing calculator, that's how you would get a square root. So let's just get started. For part A, the square root of 25 is 5, and that's because 5 times 5 is 25, also known as 5 squared, okay? And that's what we went over in the other video. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 100 isn't 50, it's 10. Square root of 0 is 0. Now, for the fraction, what you can do is split up the square root of 1/4 into the square root of 1 and the square root of 4. You can split it into many problems. So the square root of 1 is 1, square root of 4 is 2. You can also do this in your calculator. You can do second x squared. That gives you the square root symbol. And then once you have that, you can turn a fraction in there. Remember, to get your fraction, you type alpha and then x. And then you can type it in that way, whichever way is easiest for you. So for letter F, I'm just going to do the square root way. So the square root of 64 is 8, and the square root of 9 is 3. All right, let's move on down. This blends the old with the new. For exercise 2, it says given the function f of x equals the square root of x plus 3, which of the following is the value of f of 64? I'm sorry, f of 46. So going back to our function days where we had a lot of f's, in parentheses, this 46 stands for x. So what we're going to do is plug a 46 in here. So I can say square root, instead of x plus 3, I can do 46 plus 3. Now, square root symbols act like parentheses. So you do what's inside of those square root symbols first. So I have square root of 49, 46 plus 3. And we know the square root of 49 is 7. Now, of course, you can also use your calculator, just like with anything else. But I'm doing this by hand in case you're watching this at home and don't have a graphing calculator. So exercise number 3. Square roots do behave a little bit differently. You can do things in a different order and you still get the same answer. So let's take a look at part A and B. Let me see if I can zoom in a tiny bit. So the directions for this is find the value of each of the following products. So what I'm going to do for A is figure out the square roots first. I know the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3, and 2 times 3 is 6. Okay? Now if I look at letter B, it's the same numbers. But look, the 4 and the 9 are inside the square root symbol. So if I evaluate that part first, 4 times 9 is 36. And I know the square root of 36 is 6. You get the same answer. So if it's easier to figure out the square root first, go for it. If not, then figure out what's inside and then take the square root. So pause the video, try C and D. It's the same idea. So for letter C, if I do the square root of 4, I get 2. Square root of 25 is 5. And then when I multiply those two things together, I get 10. Or if I figure out what 4 times 25 is first, I get square root of 100, which is 10. Same answer. Doesn't matter what order you do it. Let's do the next page in this same video, and then I'll pause it for the next video. So this is the same idea, exercise 4. We're going to evaluate this. Square root of 2 times square root of 8. Wow. I know square root of 2 is not one of those perfect squares. So take a minute, put that in your calculator. If you are working at home and you don't have a graphing calculator, I will show you. I'm going to do this on the Delta Math calculator because that's what I have. So up here, I'm going to hit my calculator button. Let me get rid of this. So let's see what my problem is. So square root of 2 times square root of 8. So here's the square root symbol, square root 2. Now I'm going to arrow over so I can end this square root button. Square root of 2 times square root of 8. Enter. And I get 4. Now I can also put it all under the square root symbol. 2 times 8. So either way, you get a 4. Whoops. Come on, pen. 4. So moving down to exercise 5, I suppose I should have put this first in the notes. We're going to list out our first 10 perfect squares. So for this, I'm going to grab my answer key because it's just going to be a little bit neater. Okay, so before we move on to the next lesson, pause this and copy down all those perfect squares. I'm going to stop this video and then we'll move on to simplifying our square roots.